Hi there, this is Tan Tian. Today, we'll be talking about how I feel the stock market will react in April of 2021. Given that the stock market is currently facing a slight sell-off as investors are moving away from the growth stocks into the reopening stocks. So in this video, we'll be talking about how the stock market will react in April of 2021. Before we continue, please smash the like button, and if you'd like to see more of such videos, please subscribe to this channel. Firstly, we'll be talking about how the growth stocks will recover from the dip in March of this year. If inflation fears drop, this will cause a rise in growth technology stocks. However, given that the bond market continues to rise, there's a huge chance that this is a slight rebound before dipping further. Moreover, investors are looking at the growth potential against the risk involved between growth and reopening stocks. Even though there's a high chance for growth companies to beat estimates, reopening stocks could do even better. During the pandemic, there's a drop in demand for these reopening stocks, so as many countries could prevent the virus from spreading out of control, there's a huge opportunity for these reopening companies to recover from the loss. Hence, many investors are moving away from the growth stocks into reopening stocks. So if there's news that the global reopening is slowing down, there's a chance for growth stocks to rise again. Secondly, we'll be talking about how reopening stocks are rising previously and have dipped in recent days. CNBC Jim Cramer said on Monday that after a brief dip in cyclical stocks, investors now have a chance to trim their tech holdings and buy industrial plays. The Mad Money host, who made a case for building up a balanced portfolio pointing to stocks like steelmaker Nickel, Boeing, Union Pacific, and GM, Ford, and Southwest Airlines, after each of the stocks fell about 2% or more. He also placed United Airlines on his radar. The stock declined 4% during the trading season. He said you need to stay diversified. If you only own techs, you're going to miss out on the great reopening stocks that were thrown away on that day.
That is facts.
Financial and industrial stocks traded lower on Monday as tech shares moved higher. Investors in recent weeks have rotated money out of high growth holdings and into economic reopening trades.
That is.
Next, we will be talking about the escalating EU-China tension, which could jeopardize a new investment deal. Worsening tension between the EU and China could jeopardize an investment deal that the two sides recently negotiated. The EU on Monday imposed sanctions on 4 Chinese officials and 1 entity for human rights abuse in China's northwest Xinjiang region. The move was part of a coordinated action against Beijing by the US and its allies. China swiftly retaliated against the EU, announcing its own blacklist of 10 individuals and 4 entities. Beijing's response in turn prompted warning from some members of the European Parliament, saying that they will not ratify the EU-China investment deal that was agreed in December. The European Parliament is set to vote on the EU-China investment deal in early 2020, said S&D. Negotiations took 7 years, and the deal, if ratified, will allow European investors unprecedented access to the Chinese market, the European Commission President said in December. But even before Monday's regulatory sanctions, some European lawmakers raised 3 big concerns about the deal, casting doubt on its passing. Finally, we'll be talking about how the stock market will move in April of 2021. The current stock market is highly sensitive to the successful rollout of the vaccine. A US health Agency on Tuesday said that AstraZeneca may have included outdated information in trial results of its COVID-19 vaccine, potentially casting doubt over published efficacy rates. It comes just one day after the finding of a large US trial showed that the vaccine was safe and highly effective, and threw into question whether AstraZeneca can seek US clearance for vaccines next month as planned. The Data Safety Monitor Board expressed concern that AstraZeneca may have included outdated information from the trial, which may have provided an incomplete view of its efficacy data. The US National Institute of Agency and Infectious Disease said in a statement. The NAID said it would notify of the concern last Monday, along with AstraZeneca and the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, led by White House Chief Medical Advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci. The NIAID is part of the National Institute of Health. On Monday, US trial results showed that the COVID-19 vaccine developed by AstraZeneca and the University of Oxford is 79% effective in preventing systematic illness and 100% effective against severe disease and hospitalization. So if the stock market wants to see the rise in the reopening stocks, this means that the rollout of vaccines is smooth going. Given that there is news that AstraZeneca might cause a blood clot in some patients, the stock market might not like it at all. Moreover, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell on Tuesday agreed that elevated excess valuation in pockets of the market are not yet a reason for alarm. Speaking before House Financial Service Committee, both said that they are confident in the stability of the financial sector as the US economy recovers from the COVID-19 pandemic. Yellen spoke at length about the successful passage of President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief package and the administration's efforts to continue to pursue stimulus in the months ahead. The Treasury Secretary, who was a strong advocate of a big-ticket COVID-19 relief bill, said that the legislation will quickly deploy funds to millions of Americans struggling to pay rent, buy groceries, and meet other living expenses, as workers try to re-enter the labor market following 2020 recession. Though she's still clear of going into details about the Biden administration tax bill, Yellen did acknowledge that she expects the White House to eventually propose ways to generate revenue to pay for priced agenda items, including a forthcoming infrastructure plan. He must remark that the current torrent of liquidity encouraged by fiscal and monetary policies appears to have led to some frothy asset valuation in the market. He said that everybody and their brothers have a SPAC, a joke about how easy it seems for investors to pair together to take private companies public via a SPAC. So if investors believe that the Federal Reserve knows how to stimulate the economy while maintaining the inflation rate at a reasonable level, then they should purchase shares. However, if investors are not sure that the Federal Reserve is right and should raise interest rate now, they will hit into the bond market. However, there is currently one event that might bring the stock market down for a brief moment. The behemoth cargo ship stuck in the Suez Canal blocks traffic in one of the world's most important maritime choke points isn't set to break free just yet. The Ever Given's a 220,000 tons mega ship, nearly a quarter-mile long, with 20,000 container capacity, went aground after being blown by strong winds while entering Egypt's Suez Canal from the Red Sea. It completely blocked the passageway that is home to as much as 12% of the world's seaborne trade and through which 50 container ships normally transit per day. Tugboats and dredgers are currently working to dislodge the ship, which has been started since last Tuesday evening. But the operation could take weeks, one of the executives involved has warned. The crisis is another blow to the global supply chain after a brutal year ridden with delays, shortage, and price squeeze on the back of the COVID-19 pandemic. So what does this mean for global trade? The shipping delay could impact everything from clothes and shoes you order online to gym equipment, electronics, food, and energy supplies, meaning gas prices could get higher. The man-made Suez Canal, at around 120 miles long, is a key transit point connecting east to the west, and the 2,000 ships that pass through it yearly transport everything from oil and gas to machinery parts and consumer goods. While it is still early to say what the full impact of the tanker crisis will be, banks expect that in the near term, the blockage is likely to add to industry supply strains, which are already hampered by ongoing supply chain bottlenecks in the form of port congestion and shortage of both vessels and containers due to COVID-19. So what is the previous attempt to clear ship that is blocking the Suez Canal? The Ever Given, one of the world's largest container ships, is still wrecked in the Suez Canal, and the economic efforts from blockage now is in its fourth day after beginning to unfold. Oil price jumped on last Friday amid speculation that dislodging the ship could take weeks. West Texas Intermediate crude futures and Brent crude each advanced more than 4%. The gain comes after price dip on last Thursday despite the gridlock. Of the $39.2 million barrel per day of crude imported by seaborne methods in 2020, 1.74 million barrels per day passes through the Suez Canal, according to data from research firm. A specialized suction dredger that could shift 2,000 cubic meters of material every hour is now on the site, and arrangements are also being made for high-capacity pumps to reduce the water level in the forward void space of the vessel and the bow thrusters room, the firm said on last Friday. Burnham Charlotte also added that 2 additional tugboats were arrived by last Sunday to help in a refloat operation. So what is the current plan to move the ship? The owner of the massive ship blocking the Suez Canal aimed to refloat the vessel by last Saturday night, hoping that a high tide and a further removal of sediments will finally dislodge it. At a press conference on last Friday, Yukito Higaki, the president of Shions Kaizen, which owned the Ever Givens, said it was aiming to free the ship tomorrow night Japanese time, according to a translation by the Nikkei news agency. Quote, I continue working to remove sediments as of now with additional dredging tools, end quote. He added while apologizing for the great trouble and concern that the incident has caused. Other media reports suggest at least 2 attempts will be made on last Saturday to free the ship using the expected high tide. If that fails, then the rescue efforts will be bolstered on Sunday with 2 additional tugs arriving, joining the 10 already in operation at the scene. The Dutch technical manager working to free the Ever-Given said that there have been no reports of pollution or cargo damage. An initial investigation ruled out any mechanical or engine failures as a cause of the grounding. Late Sunday night, an effort to pull out the container ship stuck in the Suez Canal found some hope, following earlier news that a major push had been postponed from late Sunday to early Monday. The ship has partially refloated, said Norway-based Left Energy in a tweet late Sunday night. Earlier, the deputy operating director of the Left Energy had told the Straits that a plan to make a major attempt at midnight in Egypt was pushed back by around 18 hours to allow for higher tides and more powerful tugboats. News of the delay have dashed earlier hopes following the arrival of a special tug from the Netherlands that was supposed to help pull out the container ship that's been lodged in the Suez Canal for nearly 6 days. The ship has caught up the global major east-to-west shipping route that also serves as a critical link for international oil shipment. Workers are trying to dredge the canal while tugging on the ship in hopes of eventually freeing it from the canals, with high expectations earlier pinned on overnight Sunday. Currently, the giant container ship blocking the Suez Canal was refloated on Monday and is being secured, Maritime Service Company InCape said in a Twitter post. But it remains unclear what the condition of the container ship is and when the canal will be open to traffic, with InCape saying that more information will follow once they are known. Efforts to free the mega vessel, known as Ever-Givens, have lasted for nearly a week. The ship became stuck last Tuesday after running aground while entering the Suez Canal from the Red Sea. The ship completely blocked the canal that is home to as much as 12% of the world's seaborne trade and caused a traffic jam with hundreds of ships waiting to enter the Suez Canal. The crisis now, in its 6th day, have added to anxiety over the global supply chain, which has already been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Each day of blockade disrupts more than $9 billion worth of goods, according to Lloyd List, which translates to around $400 million per hour. In conclusion, the stock market is currently being valued as a reopening stock. So if there are any company that is benefiting from the reopening of the economy, its shares will rise. However, if the stock does not rely on the reopening of the economy, its shares will drop. So in today's stock market, investors need to choose which company to invest in, and those stock pickers that could pick the right stocks will do extremely well in the stock market. With that, thank you, have a nice day. Goodbye.